sometimes the question is a simple one. I have a couple of ads. Which one's going to do better? There are tools for doing simple A/B testing and seeing which one resonates more. The thing you get from research is an understanding of why it's better and even suggestions on how to make it even better. You get a deeper understanding, but usually the problems are sort of a bit more complex than that.
Ron and Jordan, thank you so much for being with us today. This topic of research and the role that it plays in marketing is a very specific and significant component to any marketing program. And the more sophisticated the program, the more important this role of research plays to ultimately help executives make better decisions. And that's why we're here. That's why we're talking about this topic. So thank you both for being with us today. We're thrilled to have you.
Thank you. We really appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive in and level set really on a question that will set the stage for the whole conversation, which is, what are some of the common misconceptions executives have about engaging in research for various projects?
I think I'd say the biggest misconception is that research has to be this colossal undertaking, that it's a complicated thing to do. And there's so much research that can benefit companies, and it's really much smaller, simpler, tactical. They need an answer to a question, and they need it quickly. And a lot of large companies, they execute a research project and the thing takes 3 months, and nothing stays the same for 3 months anymore. It's not like that. That world is gone. So, what we see and what our company offers, but what the industry has shifted to is much more tactical research that solves a problem that's come up in short order and is very cost effective to execute. It's very fast. There's some projects that are done in a day. There's a crisis and we need an answer. There are some ads which we want to run. Which one is going to work most effectively? And just on and on. There are just so many different situations where there's real tactical need for answers. That doesn't mean that bigger projects don't exist, but those are the much fewer. And the cost of these kinds of projects is much, much lower than I think a lot of people think. It's really very affordable and very fast. So I think that's the biggest misconception right now.
And if I can just add on, sort of real life experience with that, as we all experienced during COVID, things were moving sort of slowly, but also very quickly in terms of public perception and how companies were being impacted. We had an opportunity to work with an agency that was working with one of the major vaccine creators. And we got a call on Friday night for a study that needed to be global and it needed to be done by Wednesday. So we were able to not only create the questionnaire, program the survey, get it up and running in English by Sunday night. We were able to get the translations back and do everything in field and full reporting by Thursday. So, this is like a 6-market international study for a major brand experiencing, sort of crises of perception and things going on and moving at a very quick pace. So, that we were able to do very economically, efficiently, and get it done and out and reported on, within 5 days, I think, of finding out about this on Friday night. So not everything has to be completely over.
Often these studies involve multiple languages and translations and all of that stuff. And I know we'll undoubtedly get to AI, but all of that stuff is automated these days. You can go onto the platform and be able to say, let me take these 5 languages that came in, and when they answered the question like, what's most important for our company to do? And you get 1,000 people giving you different answers in different languages, and you push a button and it's translated to English in 30 seconds. Those kinds of capabilities are game changing in terms of how long does it take to execute, analyze, understand, a research project and to report on it.
Why should an executive slow down and pause to engage in a research project to inform any of their decisions? I think that why and kind of the the thinking behind an executive who's sitting here trying to evaluate, this situation in front of them. Sometimes it can, intuitively you might say, well, I don't have time to do a research project, or I don't have the cost to do a research project. We just have to make a decision. What would be your case to that executive to say, this is why you need to pause and slow down and consider how research might play a role in helping you make a better decision than you would without it?
You have the ability to execute so quickly and increase your top line, and it doesn't cost as much as you think. That's really important. It really, all this sophistication and technology and speed means that it costs less. I mean, that's what it translates to. The mantra of our company is better, faster, lower cost. That's the mantra that we work with. So we're trying to execute things quickly so we can do a lot of things. But as it relates to a client, you're sitting there and you've got different possible ways that you can promote a product. One of them is more effective than the others. If you could just test it quickly and know to reach those customers, this strategy is going to be best. Or maybe you're going with a strategy, you have to go, it's time. But what you can do is you can test the different approaches and learn something, so the next time you're executing, you have more insight into what works best. It's really that ability to optimize, which will increase your top line, which will increase your revenue. You'll be more successful. There was another type of research that I just wanted to mention, which was we often are doing what we call pitch polls. And a pitch poll is something for a client that's going in. They're going to be talking to a client of theirs, a potential client. And rather than going in with their normal pitch, they can have a quick research study done to explore that problem that client is having or that opportunity, and go in with data and insight that is more current, fresher than the company has about itself. And it also shows initiative on the part of the firm that's pitching in order to be able to go in and say, look, we've done this. We have this new insight that we wanted to share with you. These are the kinds of things that fast, cost-effective research can do. And, there's so many different types of tools for doing it, for showing video and dial testing it and optimizing which words, phrases did different audience segments react to, across the media that was tested. How do I optimize that? What did they like? What didn't they like? It's done all the time for political ads, for corporate ads, for commercial ads. We test so many commercials. Images. What part of the image do people like? What part of the image are they confused by or turns them off? What part of messages? We test messages it's called text highlighting, where you can highlight the words. Each participant can highlight the words that they like or that they don't like or that confuse them. And if you aggregate together whatever group you're interested in, the young people, the old people, the people who come from a certain part of the country and are Republican or Democrat or whatever you're looking for, you can see exactly in a heat map that looks like a hostage note with big words and little words, which words are popping and which words aren't popping. So there are just so many tools that are available in the kind of research we do. It's just game-changing in terms of people's perception about it.
There are plenty of benefits to research, and some perhaps unexpected benefits, if you will, crisis communication or optimizing an ad spend. I'd love to hear you elaborate a bit on even those two benefits and others that we may not have already considered and that we need to know about.
In terms of ad spend and media buys, these are the types of problems that are facing many of our clients that come to us. And when, my team takes in a survey or a project, we're really looking at, multiple ads. And sometimes, we'll be presented with an ad that has, the call to action in the beginning versus the end. The logo is appearing in the middle. Maybe it's appearing 5 times, maybe it's 3. And just looking at these different variations of ads very quickly, very cost efficiently, allows you to really identify what elements are working for you and allows you to really optimize your thinking about where you should be spending your budget and how you should be spending that. I think that, going to market when you do have limited resources, as most people do, even up to the largest corporations, really helps to do just a bit of testing before and oftentimes afterwards. So we'll do brand lift studies just to see, in actuality, how did those ads perform, and that can help to inform ad campaigns that you have going on in the future.
If I can also say, there's another opportunity to throw in more about AI, because it's such an integral part to the advanced technologies that we have available. Some of the most important questions that are often left out of surveys are qualitative questions. Like, you ask a question like, how would you rate this product? And then the follow-up question should be, why do you say that? What is it about the product that you like or that you don't like? A lot of people are afraid to ask the question, not because they don't want the answer, but because if you get 1,000 people giving you that answer, it's a hard thing to digest, to understand. Not anymore. On a platform like ours, you take an audience segment you're interested in, whether it's young men or older women or whatever group you're interested in, and you say, I want an overall summary of that question, go. And 60 seconds later, you have a report. And that report is incredible in terms of explaining exactly what people had to say. There are different types of reports. You can get a report that tells you what are the top 10 themes or the top 8 themes or whatever number is important to you that came out in all these different 1,000 open ends, 2,000 open end responses. What are the top themes? And pick out some great quotes that people said about each theme that typify that theme. So you're armed now to talk about it intelligently, knowing what people say, what are the main themes that were in there. And there's just so much more that can come from it. But asking the why questions, and if there was one thing the company could do to solve the problem for you, what would it be? And getting that kind of input, that is game changing as well. The idea of adding those kinds of qualitative questions. And we had clients when we introduced all of this analytic capability through AI, we had clients, we wanted to go back to their studies and we wanted to go to an old study and take their open end and show them the analysis. They didn't have any open ends in their study. They didn't include them. It was all quantitative data, how many of these and how much and what percent of that audience and so forth. Didn't have the why questions. And so adding the why questions, we are so proud to be able to deliver that kind of analysis. But it's so important to have those questions in a survey to reveal the really important answers that solve problems for companies.
Absolutely. And that's where you capture the emotion, right? This story with more clarity, and that component, it's half of the story. You have the qualitative and the quantitative. So that's interesting. Really important perspective to add to the mix.
Sure.
So, Ron, you have mentioned AI. I want to go all the way there. I'd love to know how AI is impacting the field of research broadly.
So, what I talked about was sort of a start, but there are just so many ways that AI can integrate into this. First of all, in terms of the analytics that go on, the idea of being able to deeply understand what the survey is telling me quickly, rapidly, insightfully, and amazingly is there. And we're literally talking about clicking a few buttons and hitting analyze, and 60 seconds later, a report. And the reports are different types. You mentioned emotions. We actually have an emotional summary report, which teases out what were people feeling, not just what was their answer, but, and it talks in words like, people expressed frustration about this, or they expressed anger about this not being available, and so forth. You can get so much richness out of it nowadays, all within a private and secure environment. So it's not like your company's secrets are being released in any particular way. If it's set up, you have to be careful. You have to know what you're doing, which we fortunately do. But it's a very important part of it is the safeguarding of data. But these kinds of insights that you can derive, or imagine you do a focus group and the focus group is done. You had this wonderful exchange. Okay, what happened? What did we learn? Imagine pushing a button and having a summary of the focus group and an understanding of the most important points that were made. What did people agree on? What did they disagree on? What are the key findings? We also have, for some of these exercises, and this is all stuff that AI is doing, and it's the ability to take that messaging, let's say that message test where they're highlighting the words and all, and you end up with an understanding. You can look at that heat map and you see what people highlighted and they didn't. But AI then translates that into the story, like the concepts that were popping to them and the concepts that were turning them off into a story so that you can communicate it and understand, I get it. And the last thing that we have AI do in that case is it also will rewrite the copy based on the insight it learned from the people, what they like and what they don't, minimizing the what they don't and maximizing the what they do. And it's more insight for people who are responsible for creating these things. It's just like, I get it. This is the story. This is what they like, didn't like. Here's a rewrite of it. And they take that as input and it then gets them closer to the ultimate answer quicker. I think that's really important. We use it in different situations. So, for example, the speech that Kamala Harris gave, or the interview that Kamala Harris with Tim Walz gave when they were doing their first interview, we had that analyzed in about 5 minutes after the process was done, and it produced not only a summary of it, but also what we call a strategy guide. And the strategy guide is saying, basically, as if I'm a political consultant talking to the speaker, saying, here's what you did best. Here's what you did worst. Here was any fact check errors, because that's built into it as well. Here's what the press is likely to ask you. Here's what your answers could be. And that's all done in 60 seconds after it's loaded. So that's not possible in any other way. You can have a political consultant who's going to give you their opinion, and that's, of course, valuable. The consultants are great. But this is so automatic and so thought through, the fact checking, all of that stuff that comes out, and it sources it and everything. These are just examples of all these different capabilities have come of age and are available. And they just have to now start to be recognized as, this is the new norm.
Ron, what I hear when you're speaking is the amount of hours of labor that in the past would have gone into gathering this information, synthesizing it, spitting back a response, an executive summary with insights and, a strategy going forward. It's just remarkable, isn't it? Being able to use these advanced tools to be able to integrate into your previous process and, add so much more value to your clients, which we'll get into more. But Jordan, I'd love to hear what you have to share as well.
Well, I just wanted to add, in addition to what Ron was talking about in terms of the AI capabilities, when we're working specifically with agencies and companies that are trying to craft the correct messaging that's really going to resonate with their clients, we have text highlighting and we have all of these tools available. And now, in addition to that, you can look with the help of AI. These are the parts that people liked. These are the parts that they didn't like. And here's a proposed revision to the message that you've created. So, in the past, you would have, multiple people working to craft, alternate options for the messaging based on the input that you get and the feedback that you get from the survey. But now you have this extra sort of helper, if I may, in AI that will help you to really craft the messaging that's going to resonate most with your clients.
This episode of Listen Loudly is brought to you by Door Number 3, a growth marketing firm for challenger brands. Door Number 3 works with scale-up and enterprise-level brands who have a mandate to grow. We help them shift from accidental to intentional growth through performance media and brand development. If you need a growth strategy and execution partner, visit dn3austin.com or give us a call. We look forward to talking to you.
One other thing, going back to something we were talking about, and when you mentioned the cost savings aspect of it, when you take something like 1,000 open-end responses, what companies would do before is they would have a team or an individual who would work for a day, for however long, to do what's called coding the open ends into the themes. They would figure out the themes, and they would say, okay, here's an open end. What did the person say? Which theme does it apply to? Or which themes? And here's another one. And they would do this one at a time as you have to do it. It's a terribly laborious, expensive manual process that takes both time, which delays the answer, and costs money for staff and so forth. And it is also subjective. The person gets tired, they get bored. Oh, I have another 300 to do. With the case of AI, that problem doesn't exist. It's you've got another 1,000, great, let's do them, and they go.
Incredible, really. And Mercury Analytics, I know that you all have made huge investments in integrating AI into your offerings and into all of the analytics capabilities that you have. Would you share with us what has that investment looked like, and what are the benefits, therefore, to executives who are watching, who are sitting at their table trying to make a decision about research or not?
I think the biggest thing that is an advantage to us is we're not using someone else's tools. I will say at the core, we're using OpenAI as the pure engine behind it. But we're manipulating OpenAI for our clients' purposes in very, very precise, careful ways. So our ability, because we have our own engineering staff, these are our tools and our technologies, and we introduce regularly new capabilities. We are often updating the capabilities, and we can even learn from our clients. They come to us and they say, "Oh, if we could do this one thing, that would be so great." Because it's our engineering staff, we can build anything. And so, I'm lucky enough to be a software engineer by training. So I'm very dangerous when working with our tech teams. So we have a great crew that is incredibly adept at manipulating these technologies to be able to deliver these turnkey sort of client solutions. And we have a lot of clients, for example, who, they will execute a focus group on their own, and they'll just upload the video onto our platform, and they get all of the AI capability. So we can be their partner executing all of the research. But even if they did it elsewhere, they can upload it to us and have the benefit of all these different tools and capabilities.
Incredible. If time and money were not an issue, I'm sure most marketers would love to add research to their workflow to inform their decisions. But I'd love to zoom in a little bit on that decision-making process of to incorporate research or not when you're at a fork in the road of trying to decide on a path forward. What would you say is the criteria for when research becomes essential, necessary, if you will, versus when it is just nice to have and more optional?
I mean, I would say that, sometimes the question is a simple one. I have a couple of ads. Which one's going to do better? There are tools for doing simple A/B testing and seeing which one resonates more. The thing you get from research is an understanding of why it's better, and even suggestions on how to make it even better. And you get a deeper understanding, but usually the problems are sort of a bit more complex than that. We have a lot of situations where they're testing Facebook ads, or they're testing ads within that context. And so, we can create mock-ups of those environments so that a user in a survey suddenly looks like they're placed in Facebook, and that they're interacting with a page in Facebook, and an ad appears, and then we'll measure what was the impact of the ad. Did they notice the ad? How do they like that brand? And different characteristics based on the ad that was shown. But it's within the context of the same environment that they're trying to sell into, if you will. So I guess the best answer is, it's not for every situation. That's absolutely true. But when you have a little bit of budget, and a little budget might be $5,000 or $4,000 or $7,000, it doesn't have to be $50,000 or $25,000. It can be less. And often, what you're looking for are answers that a good analytics platform will provide just for the client to look at and to understand. I see that group liked this part, or ooh, look, they hated that thing that we said here. We got to get rid of that. Where they don't need a lot of analytical time by a third party, because the data, the visualizations of the results, the data speaks for itself.
That's a really helpful clarification just on the thinking behind this. And again, this episode is intended to help you decide, right? Going forward, how do we spend our time, spend our resources to make sure that we're making the best decisions possible? And a lot of times, measure twice, cut once. That's the whole benefit here in pausing and prioritizing your time and energy and resources accordingly. So thank you for clarifying that for us. And I just would love also to end here with a bit of an understanding, if you would describe for our audience, for my own learnings, a bit of the story behind Mercury Analytics, and just kind of give us an overview of who you all are and how we can reach out to you for anyone interested who's watching.
I founded Mercury approximately 15 years ago. The company was started to be a research firm. My background is as a software engineer, so I'm very involved in technology, and I was really bothered by the research industry's its lack of use of technology. So we set out to build amazing technology and to be a great research company dedicated, as I said, to better, faster, lower cost research. As it turned out, many research firms loved our platform, our capabilities. And so our clientele became many, many different research firms or people that wanted to use the research for their clients. So our platform became sort of the talking point of the company. So in our business, we have different types of clients. We have clients that are full service clients, where Jordan heads up that group. Jordan, if you want to mention that, talk about that a little bit.
Sure. I mean, we work with all types of firms, agencies and other researchers, research firms, sort of small, medium, and large firms, and sometimes directly with brands. But, to get back to sort of the sort of fundamentals of our company and our philosophy led by Ron, I think he's being a little bit, holding back on really what has served as the foundational sort of thread for our entire company, is that, at the heart of it, not only do we want to make sure that research can be done more efficiently and using technology to help all of us create a better product, but Ron starts from the top and works with every single person on the team to make sure that everybody remains inquisitive. I mean, we all have questions, and finding ways to solve those the problems that we have and answer those questions that we come up with. That's really what is fundamental to Mercury Analytics. And when we work with our clients, the relationships that we have and that we build are really based on, we're a partner to our clients. We're not just creating a cookie cutter solution and saying, this is what we can offer. We're really working together with people to figure out the best way to approach a problem, to find a methodology that will work for them and for this unique situation, and move forward with that. And using all of these tools and technologies that Ron and the development team have created has really just revolutionized how we're able to do that, and also keep the costs down and work with our clients in a way that is going to help them achieve their goals.
I think also the last thing I would say is, it is critical to me that we take care of our clients. And I know everyone may say something like that, but I am concerned about our team doing a great job for our clients, not worrying about money, not worrying about those kinds of things. We want to do a great job. The money will be there. Everything will work out. If we do a great job, our clients will stay with us. They will be happy. So let's look at this as a long-term relationship and not worry about this project or that project. It'll all work out in the end. We take care of our team. We have very, very happy employees, and it's reflected in how they treat our customers. We pay full medical coverage and all those kinds of things for everyone on our team, including folks who work for us in other countries.
Incredible. Well, thank you both again for being with us. I can't wait to share this expertise and perspective to just help us all grow. I love the thread and the theme of curiosity that you just ended with, Jordan, and it's what fuels growth.